Hi everyone, well I wanted to show you this beautiful tree here and you might notice a very interesting and significant feature. Let me just zoom in, doing this on my mobile phone. We have one hollow there, another hollow there, another hollow there. This tree is absolutely full of hollows and it's located right here in the Toowoomba Show grounds. There's the Glenvale room over there. And up here we have the Founders Pavilion, so it's right here in the dead centre of the entrance for the showgrounds. And this is a really important tree. Rough guess, just based on the size of it, I would say this has been growing here since about the 1860s or 1870s. And these showgrounds, as most people local to this area will know, opened up here in the 1980s, what was it, 1986? So the people who developed the new showground site had the foresight to leave this tree here. And it's a really important tree. I've seen Redrum Parrots utilising these nesting hollows, certainly lots of other birds and some mammals will as well. And this is why in this area we get really annoyed with the developers just knocking over big trees like this. It's possible to work around them, as you can see here on this very site. Some hollows can take 200 to 300 years to develop, the large hollows that will only be used by certain large cockatoo species and other animals. So those hollows there, I couldn't tell you how long, how old this tree was when they were developed. Certainly this tree would easily be 150, 160 years old. So it takes a long time to develop something like this. There's an evolutionary history between Australian trees, in particular eucalypts, Australian termites, and also our birds. So eucalypts that are planted overseas, they don't develop hollows like this. Something has happened in the course of the evolution of our flora here and our termites, and hollows are a very big feature of mature trees in Australia, and our birds have adapted over tens of millions of years to utilise these hollows. So you can't just knock them down and plant something and think you're replacing it or giving it the you're offsetting the damage you do or something. Mature trees have to be protected, and as anyone in this area will know, that's a huge issue because they're not being protected. They're getting bulldozed left, right and centre, which is something we're working to try and stop. But I just thought you might like to just have a look. This tree, it's just littered with hollows, and it's just kind of galling that 40 years ago or 30 odd years ago people could appreciate the value of some of these things. And you look at the town of Highfields, how that was developed with heaps of mature trees left there. So in many ways they're actually more advanced on the conservation than we are now, certainly in this part of Australia. So there's a good look at a whole lot of hollows. Now another question, quick plug. So another statement I should say, why am I out here at the showgrounds? Because I used to run the fine arts section up here, and I started the wildlife arts section. I don't run the fine arts anymore, but we still have the wildlife arts section. It's just Australasian animals, so east of the Wallace line, outside of the Wallace line. So if you're in this part of southeast Queensland, the Toowoomba Show opens in about 10 days, so you might like to come in and have a look at our wonderful wildlife art. If not, just do the same in your area basically, but more importantly, do something about protecting mature trees. This is just a beautiful tree. I mean, apart from the ecosystem services, it's just good for people just having stuff like this here, and it's a connection with the past. Think of what this tree's lived through. So there, I mean, look, I'll do another video about at some stage about the importance of keeping organic matter in the biosphere basically, rather than just pulping it and having it return to the atmosphere or the lithosphere. There's a really big deal about heat island effects, incoming radiation, and how the existing ecosystems, particularly plants, help us deal with that. Whereas if we just destroy all of that, the entropy and the latent heat and energy that gets released into our atmosphere is just really not in our interest, to put it simply. So anyway, there's a beautiful tree. Hope you have beautiful trees in your area, and please protect them. Okay, thanks.